Hi, I'm finally back with another video since my AP score reaction video that I got a lot of views, so check that out if you haven't already. But I've recently played in the Danker National Tournament of High School Champions, and it's a 6 round tournament, and this is probably the last tournament for a long time because I don't have many tournaments left, because my senior year is about to start, which means a lot of stuff I have to do. However, you can put in the comments whether I should try to become a professional YouTuber or I should just try to go to actual school. So let's look at this first game. This is the third game, not the. I'm going to skip the first and second games because they're kind of uneventful and sad. I won the first one and lost the second one. I'll put them in the description if you actually want to check them out. But in this game, I'm playing one of my opponent. My opponent I actually knew from online. I played him many, many years ago. He used to be 3000, and then he kind of stopped trying. But obviously, he's still a respectable player. So the game opens like this, and he like plays the same opening as he did a lot of years ago. So we played all these moves very quickly. Okay, this is all normal, and then he plays b5, and I've had this like a lot of times in a lot of games. But like when I look at the board, I just noticed this pawn that I can take, and I don't really remember or know why I'm supposed to not take the pawn, or if I just can take the pawn. And so I just decided to take the pawn because why not? I didn't see an immediate reason not to. And then my opponent started thinking, so then I was pretty comfortable that he didn't know exactly what to do. However, he played b4, which is the best move. Now I go knight d5. My idea was just to start trading pieces, and like this bishop kind of blocks the pawn. So if I can keep my kingside safe, I can just try to trade as many pieces as I can, and eventually eat this pawn also, and then I'll be up 2 pawns. Okay, so he takes. I take with the pawn. He goes queen a5. I drop back the bishop, and this is actually a slight mistake. And I actually saw Black's best move, but I thought it wouldn't be possible. So you can try to pause the video and see what that could be. It's a really suspicious move. But if you saw Rook takes c2, you're either really cracked or you like to sack rooks. But either way, it's the best move, and it's because if I take with the king, there's bishop to f5 check, and then followed by rook to c8, and then I'm going to lose a lot of material because I have to block with stuff. If I take with the queen, then there's a pin, and my king is kind of open, so the queen is better than 2 rooks. And if I take with the bishop, then we get queen takes a2, and although I'm up a full rook, it's really hard to stabilize here, because if I take, then we get a check, followed by another check, and I basically have to block with a really unfavorable thing to block with. So like if I block with the bishop, then he takes, and then check, he can just take again. But he didn't see this. He definitely didn't consider it, because if he considered it, then like maybe he would have saw that it was good. But instead he goes bishop a4, which is also an okay move. But now I can go queen to e3 and then protect the bishop with my rook, and protect this with my queen. So he starts stacking, and I place this kind of suspicious move, and this actually hangs a fork. So try to pause the video to see if you can find a fork. So if you played bishop to b6, then that's a horrible blunder, because he can actually take on b3 here, sacrificing the queen, because if I take the queen, then rook takes c2, and then rook takes b2 because of the bishop. And if I go here, then it's checkmate in 2. And if I go here, then the other rook comes here, and after I block with everything, it's going to result in a checkmate. And if I take the rook, then he takes on b2 with check, and if I take, then he takes here, and that's checkmate. And if I go here, then he just checks me here, and then I can't go here because of a checkmate like this. If I go here, then his bishop escapes, and then he takes my bishop. So I can't, yeah, and if I recapture like this, then he actually sacks the bishop again, and if I don't take it, then it's a checkmate. If I go here, he goes here onto checks and stuff. So if I take it, I thought this was okay at first because the rook was attacked, but he can just go rook to a8, and he has 2 threats. If I try to guard a1, he goes to a2 and then eats c2 with checkmate. So he kind of calculated all this really quickly in like 10 minutes, which I guess isn't that much time, but I thought he kind of just made a random move after some thinking. But he did not. He did calculate all of this weird stuff. Okay, fortunately I don't have to do that. I can just take and just make normal moves. He goes rook c8, tries to stack. So now his threat is to take and then take. So I defend the pawn. He goes rook a8 now, trying to take and then check. So I move the rook up. So if he takes, then I take, and then if he takes, I take. I take like this, and I'm up with this pawn on the side. So now goes queen to b5, and I guess he's trying to open up his rook or do something, and he offers me a draw here, which is, or he offered me a draw somewhere back there too, but I declined because I'm up a pawn. So now pause the video to see what move would you play here, because if you don't really want to take, because then the rook takes, and some of the pieces are a bit loose, and you kind of want to target this pawn here. So what would you play with the if you were white? Okay, so if you said queen to d3 to trade some queens, and also, yeah, I played this move, and I don't really know why. So congratulations, you blundered an exchange, because after takes, we get bishop to b5, and this is a skewer. So that's kind of tragic. So I almost never. It's really rare that like these blunders happen. So it was like not only embarrassing, it's just really tragic that you hang an exchange like this in an over the board game after thinking for like 7 minutes. This is just really suspicious, like that I just hung a rook like this. But okay, obviously I'm up a pawn, so whatever. He hasn't exchanged for a pawn. I should never really lose this game because I have so much control of the queen side, and his rooks can't really get active, and I have really good control over this e6 square, so that he can't really break with the pawns. But okay, he goes king f6. Now I go here. But I'm still trying. Like in the back of my mind, I'm still trying to win this game. So like, okay, I force the king back, and now I make a really risky play. I play rook c4 and offer a trade of rooks. And my idea is that if we trade rooks, then if my bishop ever gets to like c6 and sort of dominates the rook, I can create passed pawns on the outside here. And if I get those to push quick enough, I could have winning chances because the bishop is really strong on a square like c6. So obviously he could like move a rook to the side, and I have no way to break through if he doesn't trade at least one pair of rooks. But he trades rooks, and I take with the king, and he goes e5, which is good. So his idea is to make a pass pawn of his own, which is really good because he can support it with the rook. However, I go bishop to a4, and now I'm controlling e8, but I'm also heading for the square c6, which is supported by the pawn. So now he goes f5, which is another good move. So this is the right idea. He should just push his pawns because my bishop is like no longer really able to stop this pawn, so I have to use my king. But it's not, my king doesn't always get back in time. So I go bishop to c6 now. I basically made 2 moves with my bishop. So like I'm basically going all in on the queen side. So this either works and is fantastic, or I just lose due to this pawn. So he goes king to f6, which is still okay. And now I go c3. And this is where he makes a pretty big mistake, which is taking the pawn. And it looks natural because I'm like threatening to take. But once I take back with the king, now I have 2 connected passed pawns, and they're pushing down the board pretty quickly. What he should do instead, you can try to pause the video to see if you can find the best move for black, but it's to push immediately. And the reason is you don't lose a tempo. Kind of. Yeah, so I take, and my idea was to go king d4 if this ever happened, but it doesn't work because black has this option to take. And if I take the pawn, then like there's no time for that because now he goes here, and when I go back, now the rook comes over here, and it's threatening this pawn, which is a big problem. So I go here, and now he has this weird move. He can play this weird move, rook e4, supporting the pawn that I can't take, or he can just move the rook. And because he has this passed pawn, oh okay, so he goes here, and I go here. Now the king goes to e5, and I have a light squared bishop, so I can't stop that, and then the rook comes here. And then it's really bad. So he should have pushed the pawn immediately, but I think he thought he had time to take. But now he didn't go e4. He went king e7, and now this is losing for black. So I played e4, then I can take, and then my plan was to go. Oh no, my plan wasn't to take. My plan was to play b4, because if he takes, then he doesn't have a passed pawn anymore. If he plays e3, I can play b5, and I still have time to stop the pawn with the king because the bishop covers this e8 square. So now I can push this other pawn, and I'm winning. But he still has to. He has to. This is his only try. And then taking, and now he has to push this other pawn. So he just really has to make a passed pawn on the king side, or else because he can't stop these pawns. So he tries to stop it with king e7, but now I push these pawns in a really specific order to stop the king from going here. I don't really know how important it is to push the pawns in this order, but if you push b5, then he goes king b6, and now it's actually a draw. Because if I go here, you can like move the rook, and then he hides on this square here, and now I can only check back and forth. So it's really important to stop the king from going to b6. And now he just can't do anything about me pushing these pawns. It's kind of similar to like an opposite colored bishop endgame where the bishop's on like a dark square, and the king's like here, and you can't stop the pawn. Even you just can't stop it with the rook. Okay, so now I could go a7, but like he has 5 pawns versus 4. Obviously it's winning, but I kind of want to make it easier. So I go h4. He plays h5 quickly, and this is really helpful because now when I do this, I just eat these pawns. Okay, so he plays a few more moves. Like hoping for a stalemate, but I go queen d8, which is the most accurate checkmate. So then he resigns. Okay, so I won this very important game. It was very, like I ate a suspicious pawn. Like I didn't get punished for it, but it was definitely like it was still a game. And then I tragically, very tragically, hung a skewer, but I won anyways. So I have 2 out of 3 now. I'll upload my next video probably tomorrow. Um, Please comment. Oh yeah, comment if I should like start a professional YouTube career. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.